Welcome back to Game-Based Learning in the World Language Classroom. The why, the what, and the how. We are still on the first section, looking very closely at the why. I'm Madame Sensei. I teach Spanish, French, and Japanese to high schoolers out here in the beautiful Pacific Northwest. I can be reached at studio-nemo.com, or the Minecraft Education Ambassadors, or the Minecraft Teachers Lounge, or the Duolingo Educators Network, and I've written a couple of books. In our last episode, we talked about 21st century skills. And now we're going to dive into other reasons to employ at least a little game-based learning. So today we're going to talk about universal design for learning. This is one of the many reasons I started veering toward game-based learning, because I started thinking really intentionally about backwards design. I'm teaching my students a skill. So how do I want them to apply it? How are they going to show me that they've mastered this skill? More importantly, how can I build in relevance for them so that they can see why this skill is important and necessary? My next door neighbor colleague, Adrian, has a mantra. He says, I only have 180 instructional hours a year. So everything we do has to have maximum bang for the buck. As we're combing through the Hattie effect sizes to find the best teaching practice, we should also be looking at our formative and summative assessments similarly, right? A proper game has a solid application of skills. 100% engagement from all students, even when they're waiting their turn. If it's a successful game, all the students have to be engaged. The proper game is flexible for every player according to their needs, and allows you to see a variety of ways in which the students are hitting the learning targets, and it gives everybody an equal opportunity to participate and show what they know. I'm going to focus on the word proper. I'm going to stress that word here. We're going to talk later about how to make sure your students are not passively waiting their turn or being too quiet. A good game for one stage of learning may not be the best fit for another stage, or another time of day, or a particular class. You have to be constantly formatively assessing and be willing to pivot at a moment's notice. Okay, flexibility, we're teachers. Flexibility is the name of the game, right? With a game, you can set your expectations really high. The game is going to come with built-in adjustments to remove barriers. And we're going to talk specifics with each game that I introduce. But a well-designed game is going to come with that differentiation built right in. Games give students choice and autonomy. From the lowest levels like I want to be the thimble, to the highest levels, well, wouldn't it be more fun if we played the game with these other rules instead of the first rules? When you play a game over several days or a week or a month, or revisit it several times over the course of the semester or a year, the students can't help but reflect on how am I going to improve my performance next time in the game. We all know that children learn through play, well, and adults too. You know what else? I was watching a video on Game Maker's Toolkit about designing good tutorials for video games. And I'm going to have a whole episode where I basically just pick that apart because he was so good at describing this. But it turns out that a good video game tutorial is not a pop-up screen that suddenly explains all the rules of the game one time that you have to read and click through, and only then are you allowed to go play the game. Well, it can be, but generally the best tutorials are the ones that start off slow. They're like, move this box to that square. And then they slowly complicate things as you experiment with the whole world. And as I watched this video, I kept shouting at the screen, hey, this is what I do as a teacher. We have to make strategic decisions about what we introduce when, how we have the students practice it, how we have the students combine it with their skills that they've mastered, how we have the students apply it. So I put it to you that not only has there been a lot of research on how games help you learn, but there should be research done on how games help you teach and all that we have in common. So again, I'm going to analyze this video and the concept more deeply in chapter 6 of my book. We'll get to it in the video series too. But here's the, I'll put the link in the description if you want to get ahead and watch it now. In our next episode, we're going to talk about more evidence-based practices. Hope to see you there.